All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about one of the biggest, most exciting shifts happening in education today, and that is how AI, artificial intelligence, is becoming this incredible new assistant in the reading classroom. We'll get into the tools, the techniques, really everything that's changing the game for teachers.
So, let's start with a question that every single teacher listening will know instantly. You've got one book, one article, one text, but you've got a classroom with, say, 30 different kids. 30 unique readers, all at different levels with different interests. It's that classic problem, right? The challenge of differentiation. We're calling it the differentiation dilemma. I mean, seriously, how can one person possibly give every student what they need?
Okay, so that's the big problem. But how can AI help solve it? Well, that's what we're here to break down. We're going to look at 4 key areas. First, creating all those reading materials. Then, how we can personalize practice for students. Third, how AI can handle assessing and giving feedback. And finally, we'll wrap up with your very own AI Teacher's Toolkit.
But first, let's get one thing crystal clear right from the start. This is not about replacing teachers. Not at all. Think of it more like giving every teacher a brand new colleague, an incredibly powerful, tireless assistant who can do all that heavy lifting with differentiation. This frees you, the teacher, up to focus on what only humans can do. You know, building relationships and really connecting with students. So what's on this new assistant's job description? Well, we can break it down into 4 main jobs, 4 core functions. First, it's a content creator. Second, it's a personal tutor for every single kid. Third, it's a smart assessor. Think quizzes in a snap. And fourth, it's an instant coach, giving feedback right when it's needed. Let's dig into each of these.
All right, first up, creating the actual stuff students read. This is where your AI assistant really shines as a content creator. You know the drill, right? Finding or writing that perfect text for a lesson at just the right reading level, it can take hours and hours. Well, AI can do it in minutes. Literally, minutes.
So let's look at the big players, ChatGPT and Google Gemini. ChatGPT is just amazing at generating custom passages on pretty much any topic you can think of at any level. It can also take a really complex text and simplify it or even translate it just like that. Now, Google Gemini does that too, but it also brings in multimedia. We're talking images, diagrams, that kind of thing. And it has this cool guided learning mode to walk students through stuff step by step. Plus, it hooks right into Google Docs and Search, which is super handy.
Okay, but it's not just about the big guys. There are these specialized tools that give you some incredible control. For example, a tool called Matcha lets you dial in the exact Lexile level you're looking for. Then you've got Read Theory's Lexile, which is like a one-stop shop. It creates the passage and a ready-to-print quiz all in one go. And check this out. Flint's AI Text Leveler lets you take any text you already have, maybe a news article, and boom, it spits out multiple versions for all the different reading levels in your class. This is where differentiation really stops feeling like a chore and just happens.
And for all the language teachers out there, this is a total game changer. I mean, imagine you need a simple dialogue in Spanish, say at an A2 level, and you need some exercises to go with it. A tool like Twee can whip that up for you in seconds. Creating bilingual or multi-language materials just got so much easier.
All right, let's move on to the second big job for our AI assistant, personalizing student practice. So we've created the materials, now what? This is where the AI shifts gears from being a content creator to being a personal tutor. And the best part? This tutor is available 24/7 for every single one of your students.
And this is a really big deal. We're not just talking about an AI that gives kids the answers. No way. These AI tutors act more like a guide. They use what's called a Socratic approach. Basically, they ask questions to get students to think for themselves. So ChatGPT's study mode won't just tell you what a chapter is about, it'll ask you questions about it. Gemini's guided learning does a similar thing with little quizzes. The AI becomes this reading partner that's constantly pushing students to think more deeply.
Okay, but what about those reluctant readers? You know, the ones who just don't want to read. Well, how do you hook them? You give them something to read about what they already love. And that's exactly what eSpark's Choice Text feature does. A student can literally pick their favorite thing, basketball, video games, K-pop, whatever, and the AI writes a brand new story just for them at their reading level. You can just imagine how engagement goes through the roof when the story is about their favorite thing.
You hear teachers calling tools like Microsoft's Reading Coach a game changer, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. Picture this. A student is reading out loud to the computer, the AI is listening, and when it hears a mispronounced word, it gently and immediately helps the student correct it. It's like giving every single student their own private reading coach. They can build their fluency and confidence without that pressure of reading in front of everyone.
Okay, that brings us to our last two functions, and they really go hand in hand, assessing student work and giving feedback. This is where the AI puts on two hats at once, the smart assessor and the instant coach. It's all about closing that loop between what a student practices and how they get better.
We all know making a good quiz takes time. A lot of time. Well, with AI, it's practically instant. You can just paste a block of text into a tool like Twee, and it'll generate multiple choice, open-ended, and true-false questions right away. Or you can just tell ChatGPT, hey, make me a quiz about this, and it'll spit out the whole thing, answer key and all. We're talking about automating hours of prep work, just gone. That time goes right back to the teacher.
But assessment is changing too. It's not just about static, one-and-done quizzes anymore. Take Quizlet's QChat, for example. It turns studying into a conversation. The AI doesn't just ask a question and move on. If you get it right, it might ask a follow-up question to make sure you really get it. It probes for that deeper understanding. It feels less like a test and more like studying with a super smart friend. And all of this really gets at the heart of a huge concept, real-time feedback. Think about it. Learning happens so much faster when you get feedback right away, not days later. When that AI reading coach corrects a word the second it's mispronounced, the student fixes it right then and there. They build the right habit. That kind of instant feedback loop for every student at once, that was pretty much impossible before now.
And believe it or not, we're really just scratching the surface here. The next big thing is what's called multimodal feedback. Basically, feedback that isn't just words. So imagine a student is stuck on a science text about the water cycle. Instead of the AI just trying to re-explain it with more text, what if it could just show them a quick diagram or a little animation? That's what tools like Google Gemini are starting to do, and that makes learning so much more accessible for everyone.
Okay, so we've covered what these AI assistants can do and why it's so powerful. Now let's get super practical and look at the how. It's time to open up your AI Teacher's Toolkit and compare some of the best tools out there right now. So let's run through a few of the big ones. If you just need a versatile, all-around tool for creating stuff and tutoring, ChatGPT is your go-to. If you live in the Google world and love using visuals, Gemini is a fantastic choice. For language teachers, Twee is purpose-built for you. If you're focused on oral reading fluency, you have to check out Microsoft's Reading Coach. It's free. And for making studying more conversational, Quizlet's QChat is another awesome free tool. So let's tie this all together. What's the big takeaway? It's pretty simple, really. When you let the AI handle all those time-consuming tasks, creating different versions of a text, making the quiz, giving that first round of feedback, it frees up the single most valuable thing in any classroom, the teacher's time. And that time can be spent on the things that matter most, leading rich discussions, teaching critical thinking, and giving that personal one-on-one support that only a human can.
Now, of course, we need to be smart about this. There are a few key things to keep in mind. First, always review what the AI creates. It's a fantastic assistant, but you are the teacher. You're the final expert. Second, student data privacy is absolutely crucial. Make sure any tool you use is safe and compliant. And finally, and this is the most important one, remember that the human element, the empathy, the connection, the inspiration a teacher provides, that can never, ever be replaced.
So, when it all comes down to it, what's the bottom line? When we use them thoughtfully, when we integrate them judiciously, these AI tools are not a threat. They're powerful assistants. They're here to help educators do the amazing job they already do, just better. They're here to help us create classrooms full of proficient, confident readers for life.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. If AI can start handling the mechanics of reading instruction, all that nitty-gritty stuff, what does that free us up to do as teachers? What new doors does that open for the real human art of teaching? That's something to think about.